Tell us about your PDF experience. Visual Studio Tutorial C#. Create C# apps with Visual Studio. Get started. How to guide download and install Visual. How to guide download and install Visual Studio. Get started. Start a guided. How to guide download, create C# apps. Learn visuals, run a program. Open, How to guide access. Welcome to the Visual, Article 03/10/2023. Applies to Visual Studio. Visual Studio for Mac. Visual Studio Code. An integrated development environment, IDE, is a feature-rich program that supports many aspects of software development. The Visual Studio IDE is a creative launching pad that you can use to edit, debug, and build code, and then publish an app. Over and above the standard editor and debugger that most IDEs provide, Visual Studio includes compilers, code completion tools, graphical designers, and many more features to enhance the software development process. Editions. Visual Studio is available for Windows and Mac. Visual Studio for Mac has many of the same features as Visual Studio for Windows, and is optimized for developing cross-platform and mobile apps. This article focuses on the Windows version of Visual Studio. There are 3 editions of Visual Studio: Community, Professional, and Enterprise. See Compare Visual Studio editions to learn about which features are supported in each edition. Popular productivity features. Some popular features in Visual Studio that improve your productivity when developing software include squiggles and quick actions. Squiggles are wavy underlines that alert you to errors or potential problems in your code as you type. These visual clues help you fix problems immediately without waiting to discover errors during build or runtime. If you hover over a squiggle, you see more information about the error. A light bulb might also appear in the left margin showing quick actions you can take to fix the error. Code cleanup. With the click of a button, you can format your code and apply any code fixes suggested by your code style settings. Editor config conventions on Danalyzer's Roslow. Code cleanup, currently available for C# code only, helps you resolve issues in your code before it goes to code review. Refactoring. Refactoring includes operations such as intelligent renaming of variables, extracting one or more lines of code into a new method, and changing the order of method parameters. IntelliSense. IntelliSense is a set of features that display information about your code directly in the editor and, in some cases, write small bits of code for you. It's like having basic documentation inline in the editor, so you don't have to look up type information elsewhere. The following illustration shows how IntelliSense displays a member list for a type. IntelliSense features vary by language. For more information, see #IntelliSense Visual C++, IntelliSense JavaScript, IntelliSense, and Visual Basic IntelliSense. Visual Studio Search. Visual Studio menus, options, and properties can seem overwhelming at times. Visual Studio Search, or Ctrl+Q, is a great way to rapidly find IDE features and code in one place. For information and productivity tips, see how to use Visual Studio Search. Live, share, collaboratively edit and debug with others in real time, regardless of your app type or programming language. You can instantly and securely share your project. You can also share debugging sessions, terminal instances, localhost web apps, voice calls, and more. Call hierarchy. The call hierarchy window shows the methods that call a selected method. This information can be useful when you're thinking about changing or removing the method, or when you're trying to track down a bug. CodeLens. CodeLens helps you find code references, code changes, link bugs, work items, code reviews, and unit tests without leaving the editor. Go to definition. The Go to definition feature takes you directly to the location of a function or type definition. Peak definition. The peak definition window shows a method or type definition without opening a separate file. Hot reload. Hot reload enables you to edit your application's code files and apply the code changes immediately to the running application. Install Visual Studio. In this section, You create a simple project to try out some of the things you can do with Visual Studio. You use IntelliSense as a coding aid. Debug an app to see a variable value during app execution, and change the color theme. To get started, download Visual Studio and install it on your system. In the modular installer, you choose and install workloads, which are groups of features you need for the programming languages or platforms you want. To use the following steps to create a program, be sure to select the .NET Desktop Development workload during installation. When you open Visual Studio for the first time, you can sign in by using your Microsoft account or your work or school account. Create a program.
Create a program.
Dive in and create a program. 1. Start Visual Studio. The Start window appears with options for cloning a repo, opening a recent project, or creating a new project. 2. Choose Create a New Project. The Create a New Project window opens and shows several project templates. A template contains the basic files and settings required for a given project type.
You know how sophisticated that thing is?
You can type or enter keywords in the search box.
Oh, it takes forever to do
available
this.
templates filters based on the keywords.
They're not even in the best part.
You can further filter template results by choosing C# from Field Languages drop-down list, Windows from Field Platforms list, and Console from Field Project Types list. Select the console application template.
Would you rather listen to the computer tell you,
4. In the
or listen to an instructor tell you?
Hello World
Me, I picked the computer. It's a consistent voice. It doesn't fluctuate.
Change the project
username, source, repository. I always change everything because you don't want it in your repository. You'll never find it. Eventually, this thing connects to SQL Server,
additional information window.
Access databases. I know all. I was an expert, but I'll learn it. Second says Jet.
Visual Studio creates the project. The program is a simple Hello World application that calls the console.readAline method to display the string Hello
World. Here's the funny part.
In a console window.
Last night,
the project files appear
on
the right side of the Visual Studio IDE in a window called the Solution Explorer. In the Solution Explorer window, select the program.x file.
Yeah, I know what that is.
The C# code for your app opens in the central editor window, which takes up most of the space. The code is automatically polarized to indicate different parts,
the lights,
such as
all of
keywords
it.
and types.
Total power grid went down. I think somebody either hit the pole over there,
lines in the code indicate which
or a transformer blew because the fire engine started firing up in a second.
Plus signs to collapse or expand blocks off code.
Fire engines,
This
police
code
cars, all of it.
feature lets you hide code you don't need to see, helping to minimize on-screen clutter.
But then it came right back on, so they must have something in the firehouse that alerts it to them immediately. It was either right over here or right over there at AstraZeneca.
You can also press Ctrl plus F5.
Because I could hear the direction of which
Visual
came.
Studio builds the app.
Press any
and the
key to
console
continue,
window
it says.
opens with the message Hello World. You now have a running app. 7. To close the console window, press any key. 8. Let's add some more code to the app. Add the following C# code before the line that says console.readAline. Hello
You know why
World.
they named it C#, right?
Console.readAline.
It says right line, not riddling.
Var name equals console.
That means it has a
This
non-spoke
code displays what is your name
NS
in the console
backspace, which
window,
is incredible.
and then waits until the user enters
Takes
some
years
text.
to figure that
9.
out.
Change the line that says console.readAline. Hello World.
Hello
the
World.
following line, see #console.readAline. $\.
Then I realized, wow, it's only 288 pages.
Run the app again by selecting debug start.
Then I realized, well, if I read through the first 28 pages, that's 10%. If I read through the next 28 pages, that's 20%. Then I got up to 50%, and I'm reading, wow, this is only the introduction. This is for beginners. The real experts don't start to page 50.
Use refactoring and IntelliSense. Let's look at a couple of the ways that refactoring and IntelliSense can help you code more efficiently. First, rename Viname variable.
Yeah,
1. Double-click Viname variable and type the new name
he's
for
not
the
saying
variable
it perfectly,
username.
but
A box appears around a
it's reading
variable,
perfectly.
and a light bulb appears in the margin.
Yeah,
2.
light bulb.
Select the light bulb icon to show the available quick actions. Select rename name to username. The variable is renamed across the project.
Oh no, I am prepared
with
with powers out.
3. Now
I
take a
got
look at
batteries
IntelliSense.
everywhere.
Below the line that says console.clean, $n hello username, type datetime now equals datetime. A box displays the members of the datetime class. The description of the currently selected member also displays in a separate box.
The indoor air quality in this house, horrible.
Which is
Zero.
a property of the class, by double-clicking it or pressing tab. Complete
air quality in this house, horrible. Out that window, better today, but it's going to get worse because I live with somebody who insists on bad air quality. It's going to kill me, himself, and everybody around him. And he doesn't care.
Console.write, day of year, console.write day of year, tip console.write is different from console.write line in that it doesn't add a line terminator after it prints.
You know what terminator is,
that
right?
means that the next piece of text that's sent to output
everybody thinks, oh geez, wow, I have a cell phone that works. This is how you do it.
Methods in your code to see their descriptions. Point 6. Next, use refactoring again to make the code a little more concise. Select the variable now in the line datetime now equals datetime.now. A screwdriver icon appears in the margin on that line. Point 7. Select the screwdriver icon to see available suggestions from Visual Studio.
That's a screwdriver for it.
This.
So now I can see the internet's down.
Temporary variable inline temporary variable
Wi-Fi networks, they're around me, but I don't know the password.
Without changing the overall code behavior. 8.
But I could hook it because I have a hotspot on that phone.
9. Run the program again by pressing Ctrl plus F5. The output looks something like this.
Yeah, like that.
Debug code.
Debug.
When you write code, you should run it and test it for
set
bugs.
breakpoints. I know how to do
Visual
this.
Studio's
Takes
debug
years to
system
figure
lets
it
you
out.
step through code one statement at a time and inspect variables as you go. You can set breakpoints that stop execution of the code on a particular line, and observe how the variable value changes as the code runs. Set a breakpoint to see the value of the username variable while the program is running. 1. Set a breakpoint on the line of code that says console.ritalin, $n hello username, by
Sounds like
clicking
you're
in
saying
the
Ritalin,
margin,
right?
Or gutter.
I guess that's the next
line.
drug that's on the market,
You can
Ritalin.
also select the line of code
It's
and
right
then press
line
F9.
saying
A
Ritalin.
red circle appears in the gutter, and the line
That's
is
people
highlighted.
in the gutter.
2. Start
I was watching
debugging by
YouTube.
selecting
Somebody's
debug,
walking around with a
debugging or pressing
machine
F5.
gun.
3. When the console window appears and asks for your name, enter your
Sad,
name. The focus
'cause he killed
returns to the
police
Visual
officers.
Studio Code editor, and the line of code with the breakpoint is highlighted in yellow.
Then he killed
The
himself.
yellow highlight means that this line of code will execute next. The breakpoint makes the F-pause execution at this line. Point 4.
See, it says
Hover your mouse over
execution.
the username
He went up to
variable
execution
see its
style
value.
and started killing people.
You can also right-click on username and select Add Watch to add the variable to the watch window where
Yeah,
you can
he
also
went up to
see its
people
value.
and
Point
started
5.
executing
Press
people.
F5 again to finish running the app.
Not really executing, but
Once
had a
the app
machine
is
gun
running,
firing at
You
will.
can apply code changes to the running app by clicking the hot reload button. For more information about debugging in Visual Studio, see the Debugger feature tour. Customize Visual Studio. You can personalize the Visual Studio
This is only
user
3 years
interface,
ago.
including changing the default color theme. To change the color theme, 1. On the menu bar, choose Tools Options to open the Options dialog. Point 2. On the Environment General Options page, change the color theme as selection to blue light, and then select OK. The color theme for the entire IDE changes accordingly. The following screenshot shows the blue theme. To learn about other ways you can personalize the IDE, see Personalize Visual Studio. Select Environment Settings. You can configure Visual Studio to use environment settings tailored to C# developers.
Now, if I wasn't talking,
On the menu bar,
you could listen
choose
to it
Tools,
perfectly.
Import,
Why
and
would I
Export
do that? I
Settings.
can read it.
2. In Import and Export Settings wizard, select Reset All Settings, and then select Next. Point 3. On the Save Current Settings page, choose whether to save your current settings before resetting. If you haven't customized any settings, select No. Just reset settings.
Nice jacket, though,
Overriding
isn't it?
my current settings.
It says Verizon.
Then select Next. Point 4. On the Choose a
See, that's
Default
Verizon.
Collection of Settings
It's just a
page,
jacket.
choose Visual C#.
I've worn dead
and then
people's
select
jacket
Finish. Point
before.
5. On the Reset Complete
Yeah.
page, select Close.
But
To learn about
when
other
you
ways you can
see that
personalize
it says
the
somebody
IDE,
else's name on it,
Personalize
that means they're
Visual
dead.
Studio. Next steps. Explore Visual Studio further by following along with one of these introductory articles. Learn to use the code editor.
Yeah,
Learn
that's
about
tough to do.
projects and
Takes years to
solutions.
figure that out.
See also. Discover more Visual Studio features. Visit visualstudio.microsoft.com. Read the Visual Studio blog.
It says Microsoft.com.
Learn to use the code
Microsoft. It's all,
Article 09/01/2022.
people don't understand.
Applies to Visual
Visual
Studio.
Studio.
Visual Studio for Mac. Visual Studio Code.
Don't buy a
In this
Macintosh,
10-minute
they're the worst.
introduction to the code editor in Visual
That's the
Studio,
hook of
we'll
Apple.
code to a Velico look at some of the ways
Apple's
that
the
Visual
worst.
Studio
They have
makes
their own
writing,
special like
navigating, and understanding
adapters,
C# code easier.
plugs.
If you haven't
Not this
already
thing. This is
installed Visual
USB-A,
Studio, go to the
C, B,
Visual
whatever it
Studio
is.
Downloads. Pagito
Whoever
install
came up
for
with
free.
Apple, do
This
not buy
article
one of those.
assumes
They're
you're
the
already
worst.
familiar with C#. If you aren't, we suggest you look at a tutorial such as Get Started with C# and ASP.NET Core in Visual Studio first. Tip: to follow along with this article, make sure you have the C#
Whoever's
settings
buying an
selected for
Apple
Visual
product,
Studio. For information
you're going to
about
hook
selecting
yourself
settings
into
for the
years
integrated development
and years of
environment,
paying too much
i.e.,
money. Not
see
me.
Select
I
Environment
would never do
Settings.
that. I'm already paying too
Create
much
a new
money.
code file. Start by creating a new file and adding some code to it. 1. Open Visual Studio. Press ESC, or choose Continue without Cody in the Start window, to open the development environment. 2. From the Fill menu on the menu bar,
Why do you think I put this jacket on?
or press
Because I don't want to get my
Control
clothes
plus
dirty.
3. In the New File dialog box,
Now I
under
need
the
is
General
deodorant.
category, choose Visual C# class and then choose Open. A new file opens in the editor with the skeleton of a C# class. You don't have to create a full Visual Studio project to gain some of the benefits that the code editor offers. All you need is a code file.
That's the end of it, right? Code file. Look, it's at the end, so this is more plastic that's done.
Use code snippets.
Use code snippets.
Visual Studio provides useful code snippets that you can use to quickly and easily
Here,
generate
you gotta put on
commonly
deodorant
used
when you
code
get up,
blocks.
you know, right?
Code snippets are available for different
And you
programming
smell.
languages including C#, Visual Basic, and C++. Let's add the C#
Almost over.
main snippet to our file.
I'm almost on Old
1.
Spice.
Place your cursor just above the final closing brace in the file. And
Looks
type
like I'm a
each
terrorist.
uses
No,
dots
I'm wearing a
stands
face
for
mask. Can
static
you read my
void.
lips?
Don't worry if you don't know what that means yet. A pop-up dialog box appears with information about this code snippet. 2.
I'm not a
Press tab
terrorist.
twice
It says
to insert the
class.
code snippet.
Class.
We'll see
You know what
just static
virtual
void
learning
method.
is, right?
Method
These kids were
signature
getting
added to the
off with
file.
virtual learning.
The main
Come
method
on.
is the entry point for C#
I didn't have virtual
applications.
learning. I went to school.
Available code snippets vary for different programming
I
languages.
walk from the train station
You can look at the available code
every
snippets
day.
for your language by choosing Edit IntelliSense Insert Snippet or pressing Ctrl plus K Ctrl plus X, and then choosing the folder for your programming language. For C#, the snippet list looks like this. The list includes snippets for creating a class, a constructor, a for, loop,
You know what? Drexel's ranked globally,
or
right?
switch.
They were the first one ever to put Macs into their school.
Comment out code.
I didn't have one. The people behind me had one.
Which is the
Looks
row
like
of
I'm a
buttons
diver, right?
you
Want to go
are in
swimming?
Visual Studio helps make you more productive as you code. For example, you can toggle
What time is it?
IntelliSense, completion mode, increase or decrease a line indent, or comment out code that you want to compile.
Nobody wants
Let's
old
comment out
people.
some code. 1. Paste
Don't
the following
forget,
code into the main.
at the end,
Method body
criminals
dot
are the
C#
good ones. Some of them.
/ some words is a string array.
Everybody
String
knows
some
that.
words equals
All the good people who think they're
Brown,
goody two-shoes
Fox,
rely on the bad
Jones,
people
string
to
more
get
words
them through.
equals over the lazy dog /
That's the
alpha
theory of evolution.
words dot ie
Because the
numberable
good
string
people
query equals
think
from
they're the
word insert
Ponzi. They
word
say,
sorter
oh,
word
gee,
select
I'm good.
2.
He's
We're not
bad
using
or
memory
she's
words
bad.
variable,
And then they say, wow,
but we might use it
well,
later, so we don't want
we're-
to delete it.
well, if I'm
Instead,
better than him, then
we'll
I'm better
comment
than
out
her.
those lines.
If I'm better than her, then
Select
she's
the
better than
entire
her.
definition
And that's
of
so
our
on,
words
so
down to
on.
the
Two
closing
times, two
semicolon,
friends tell, so
and then
on,
choose
so
the
on,
comment
so
out the
on.
selected lines button on the toolbar. If you prefer to use the keyboard, press Ctrl plus E Ctrl plus C. The C# comment characters / are added to the beginning of each selected line to comment out the code.
Right.
Collapse code
I was
blocks.
just reading, to get into
We don't
Drexel,
want to
you
see
need a
the empty
1330
instructor.
SAT score.
That was
Mine
generated
wasn't
for
that
class
high.
1.
I
So
got
tell
in.
Clutter our view of collapse it?
What do you think
Choose
got me
the
in?
small gray
Not
box
my
with
SAT
convenient
score.
sign
I
inside
only had
it in the margin
1120.
of the first line of the constructor. Or, if you prefer to mouse the keyboard, place the cursor anywhere in the constructor code and press Ctrl plus M. Ctrl plus M. The code block collapses to just the first line, followed by an ellipsis.
But I was a daredevil on the diving board.
Again, select the same gray box that now has a plus sign in
Not
it,
many people
or
can
press
say that.
Ctrl plus M. Ctrl plus magging.
See, it says
This
Control
feature is
M.
called outlining.
Control M.
And is especially useful when you're collapsing long methods or entire
You know, you
classes.
can teach an old dog.
View
You
simple
can teach an
definitions.
old dog new
The Visual
tricks.
Studio Editor makes it easy to inspect the definition of a type.
Look, I look
method,
like somebody from
or variable.
Africa or a turban.
One way
No,
is to go to the
I
definition
cut these
in whichever file has it by
with my own
choosing Go
hands.
to Definition or pressing F12 anywhere a symbol is referenced. An even quicker way to move your focus away from the code you're working on is to use definition peek. Let's peek at the definition of the string type. Right-click on any occurrence of string and choose Peek Definition from the Content menu. Or, press Alt plus F12. A pop-up window appears with the definition of the string class.
Do you think Microsoft's going to put a
scroll
copyright
within the
on
pop-up
this?
window, or even peek at the definition of
They
another
did.
type
They
from
stole
the
from me.
Point 2. Close the Peek
They
Definition
wrecked my
window
whole
by
computer.
choosing the small box with an X at the top right of the pop-up window. Use IntelliSense to complete words. IntelliSense is an invaluable resource when you're coding. It can show you information about available members.
They say
of a
coding
type,
is fun.
or parameter
Well, who's
details
Cody
for
then?
different overloads of a.
Don't forget the
One
people
dot below Vector
in
variable.
Hollywood. They thought,
Start
oh,
typing the
geez, we can
following
just
code.
make
See
movies about a
hashtag for
fire
each.
now.
Strings trink. We'll see an IntelliSense pop-up appear with information about Vector symbol. Point 2. To insert the rest of the word query by using IntelliSense word completion, press tab. Point 3. Finish off the code block to look like the following code. You can practice further with code snippets by entering quant and pressing tab twice to generate the console.write line a statement. C# for each. Strings trinkery. Console.write str. Refactor a name. Nobody gets code right the first time, and one of the things you
Nobody
might have
gets
to
it right
check
the
is
first
the name
time.
of
I
the
already read
variable
this.
or method. Let's try out Visual Studio's Refactor. Functionality to name the some words variable.
Let's hear some.
Words.
The brown fox jumps over the
Place
fence.
cursor over the definition of the some words variable, and choose rename from the right-click
Static
or
void
menu.
main.
Or press F2.
You know what that means?
Rename
Static
dialog
void
box
main.
appears at the top right
Yeah.
of the editor. Point 2. Enter the desired name on sorted words. You'll see that the reference town sorted words in the query assignment statement is also automatically renamed. Before you press enter, select the include comments checkbox in their name pop-up box. Point 3. Press
They're
enter,
not even up to the
or choose
best
apply
part.
the rename
This is
dialog
the
box.
introduction.
Both occurrences of some words in your code have been renamed, as well as the text some words in your code comment. Next steps. Learn about projects and solutions.
Yeah, but I already
See
passed
also.
that point.
Code
Snippets, navigate, code outlining. I already did this before I did the
definition
website.
refactoring. Use IntelliSense.
Cost money.
Introduction to projects and solutions. Article
This was-
12/06/2024.
Now that was less
In
than
this
that was
tutorial, you explore
less than
what
2
it
months
means to
ago.
create a solution and a project in Visual Studio. A solution is a container to organize one or more related code projects, like a class library project and a corresponding test project. You create a reference
So they're
from
about
one project to
15%
another
through
in a
the
solution.
manual.
This tutorial also describes the properties of a project.
Now, would you rather
and
listen
some
to
of
the
files
computer
that it can
or
contain.
me commenting on
As an exercise
ASP.NET?
to
There's Visual
understand the concept of
Studio,
a project,
Phone
you create
Link,
a solution and project
Media
from
Player,
scratch.
Notebook, Excel,
Ordinarily,
Word,
You
Outlook,
use Visual
Media
Studio
Player,
project template test to
computer,
create the projects.
Edge,
In this
Chrome,
tutorial, you learn
Camera,
how to
File
add
Explorer,
an
Search
item to the
Bar.
project, add a second project, add a project reference, add test code, view project properties. Prerequisites. Solutions and projects. In Visual Studio, a solution isn't an answer. A solution is simply a container that Visual Studio uses to organize
Question
one or
is,
more related projects.
Will I ever get it up on the
When you
internet?
open a
GitHub?
solution,
You
Visual
say
Studio
GitHub?
automatically loads all the projects that
Oh,
the
I could make a
solution
joke
contains.
about that.
7 note.
Don't
Developing
forget, I
apps
was
in
married,
Visual
so I
Studio
understand what
doesn't
married
require
people talk
solutions
about.
and projects. You can just open a folder that contains code and start coding. building, and debugging. For example,
I was also divorced, so I understand what divorce does to a married person.
Projects and solutions. For more information, see develop code in Visual Studio without projects or solutions. Create a solution. Start your exploration by creating an empty solution. After you get to know Visual Studio, you probably won't create empty solutions often. When you create a new project, Visual Studio automatically creates a solution for the project.
You want to create your own website, make money, study, 4 o'clock, wake up, start taking notes.
And on the start window,
look, it's 4:20.
Create a new project.
That's when news starts. Not anymore. News started at 3:30. I'm behind by an hour.
Select blank solution template.
You don't see my TV on.
Tip if you have several workloads installed, the blank solution template might note.
Looks like I'm going skiing now, right?
Search results.
Playing hockey.
Try scrolling through other results based on your search.
This is how I sleep last night.
Point 3. On the configure your new project page, name the solution quick solution, and then select create. The quick solution appears in Solution Explorer on the right side of the Visual Studio window. You'll use Solution Explorer
worse because daylight didn't start, and I still hear somebody playing their TV really loud.
Now add your first project to the solution.
I mean, really loud.
Start with an empty project and add the temps you need. 1. In Solution Explorer,
you imagine wasting all your money, listen to TV all night.
Select add new project. Point 2.
One of those big 65-inch screen TVs.
Tie into the search box at the top.
I mean, huge TV, and they're wasting money on it.
Point 3. Select C# empty project. .NET Framework.
Some people sleep for 12 hours.
And select next. Point 7. Note Visual Studio uses workload-based installation to install only the components you need for the type of development you do. If you don't see the empty project, .NET Framework, template, install THG.
You don't want to get on. I used to think I could create a chat room. I know they'll kick you off in a second. People don't like. Girls don't like when people talk the truth. Boys don't like it either. They're a bunch of finks. I knew a fink once. Didn't last long, but I also knew a girl named Fink. I loved her. Yeah, she was my supervisor. Great singer.
Name the project quick date, and then select create. The quick date project appears under the solution in Solution Explorer. The project contains a references node and a single file named
Her name's Nancy. She says to me, Mike,
add an item to the project.
Can you just play the guitar one more time so we can sing along with the Office? I'm like, what? What song do you want me to play?
From the context menu, select.
And some dude named Otto says, oh, no, you're way better than me. You play it.
Select Show All Template as if dialog opens in Impact Viewpoint 2. Expand Visual C# items, and then select Code. In the middle pane, select the class item template.
Not only that,
name, type calendar.
I took a Randy Rhodes Flying V into NIST. NIST.gov, where they set the standards for the United States government and actually the world. Walked in with my Flying V. He's like, dude, can you please turn that on so we can hear it up in the studio? We're trying to set the stage so we can hear you. A huge auditorium. I mean, huge. Kind of like a classroom at a college, but it was all rigged with studio. I'm like looking up saying, yo, man, can I plug in my amplifier? He goes, where is it, you dummy? Go get it. I don't know if I actually brought my amplifier over, but I definitely had my Flying V right in there.
The app prints today's date to the console or standard output window. Then, close the console window. Add a second project. 1. In Solution Explorer, right-click Solution Quick Solution. From the context menu, select Add New Project.
Pretty good voice though, right? I could switch to the girl. It's worthless. I tried that before during COVID. Don't forget, somebody walked in this room with COVID and tried to infect me on purpose. That's sad. What's that say about the person who did it on purpose? Because they didn't want to have it on their own. Think I got through it? No, I ended up with things that'll scar me for life. You think he's going to be on my beneficiary list? No, he's already off.
Add a project reference. To use the new unit test project to test your method in the QuickData project, You need to add a reference to QuickData to the quick test project.
Yeah, you need a reference to get in, right?
Dependency between the
you don't
two
need
projects.
A reference to get into heaven.
When you build
don't need a reference to get into hell. Everybody will sit in limbo until everybody's going to say, well, I'm dead, I hope I did good, but it doesn't matter because we all know we're going into the ground unless God comes along. But God is just a fiction of everybody's imagination.
Select checkbox next to
God is the community itself.
A reference to the QuickData project appears under the Quick Test Project in Solution Explorer. Add test code. Now add test code to the C# test code file. Replace the contents of unit test 1.x with the following code C#.
I was raised a Catholic.
Using system.
I realized very early they were all about the money.
Unit testing.
I paid mine.
Namespace quick test class public
namespace. Now we're getting into the thick of it.
Test get current date. Assert.arrayqual. Date time. Now date quick date.
Date now.
Get current date.
Girls get tired of dating too many boys. And then you realize, well,
fix this error by
the girl betrayed the boy.
Friend assembly to the QuickData project point 2. In the calendar.
Some boys outlive girls. You know that, right?
Using statement and internalize visible to attribute. Internalize visible to attribute to the top of the file to resolve the error in vtest project.c# using system.runtime.compiler services assembly. Internals visible to quick test. The calendar.x code should look like this screenshot.
Screenshot. That's 32 minutes. Let's stop it there. That's usually a half hour. People usually get a 10-minute break and then they come out for the next one.
Run the unit test. To check that your unit test is working, from